Welcome back to Agranak Studios. I'm DM Wisdom, and today we're going to go down memory lane. These are my original books that I got back in about 1989 or so. These books have some vibes. I learned how to improv role play with these books and this game system. Now, this is Star Wars, the role-playing game by West End Games, and the Star Wars sourcebook, the two books that are probably most essential in this game. I played a few of the adventures, like Tatooine Manhunt, which is one of the best adventures for the system and probably the most played. That's probably akin to Keep on the Borderlands for D&D. I was a huge Star Wars fan when I was a kid. The original trilogy was, man, I was all about it. The prequels, not so much, and the trilogy of sequels, not at all. But that's just me. You may love them. No shade or no judgment here. But this is, man, it is a great system, especially for the time when it came out, which was for the 10-year anniversary of Star Wars, which this came out in 1987. All of this wear and tear was from me and my friends playing this game countless hours. Star Wars, the role-playing game, 1987. Awesome B-Wing Star Destroyer getting, destroyed itself. And the Return of the Jedi version of the Death Star. What's great is that it's got these wonderful color plates every once in a while in the books, maybe only in one place. Very, very cool. Having stills from the movie, as well as advertisements. A challenge this big is not for everyone. The Imperial Navy really brings you into the headspace of the Star Wars universe. More movie stills later on in the book, and then these cool advertisement for the Incom's T-65 X-Wing, and then a little write-up there. 4-week Grand Galactic Tour, Tatooine, Endor, Imperial City, and Bespin. No job is over this little guy's head. Everything they did in this book was just stellar, and which is why it holds up today. It starts off with just your basic creating a character, gets right into it. Everything in the system uses D6s. So you use multiples of D6, and it is a positive. Some people call it dice pool. Yes, technically, because you're rolling multiples of the same dice. But when I think of dice pool, I'm thinking of like a game like Year Zero, where you're rolling a bunch of D6s and you're only looking for sixes for a success. This, you're adding up. So that's how I differentiate, I suppose. Shows you a character template here, character connections, and gives you gameplay examples, etc. And how to roll a skill check. Like if you had a 3D +1 for your dexterity and you were rolling a dexterity check, you would roll 3d6 and then add 1. Pretty simple. Gets into the bare bones, grenades and skill points, dodges, the Force and how to use it, and powers of the Force. And then gets right into role-playing and does this choose-your-own-adventure style, sort of, where depending on your skill rolls, you'll go to a certain block text and read that out. And great memories of doing this. It harkens to the Red Box, the Menser Red Box, and a great way to get a taste of the game. And then that's 24 pages. That is the main part of the rules. Done. Simple system, and you're off and running. The next part is the Game Master section. And what it means to Game Master, attributes and skills. Yeah, you've probably watched other videos about Star Wars West End games, but maybe not all of my viewers have. This game man, such a soft place in my heart, especially when we're talking about just the original trilogy. And that's where this takes place because none of the other movies had, well, come out yet. Now it gets into combat, the sequence, how to fire in combat, and then the different difficulties, basically going point blank range, short, medium, and long, which are basically the breakdowns of an easy test, medium, hard, and a long shot or crazy difficult shot. All the cool stuff, how to set blasters on stun, the effects of that, drawing, as in like doing a draw in a battle, hand-to-hand combat, etc. Gives you weapon descriptions, and then into wounds and healing, starships, giving you the starship data and the stats for all of that. And then as well, dealing with things like passage of time, especially like when you're in hyperspace and all of that. And then gets into starship combat. And I have the Star Warriors box set, and a lot of the combat that we did used that game system, which was, man, it really gave awesome visuals for sure. All right, Chapter 6, The Force. If you were a Jedi, it was really tough up front, but once you gained enough experience over time, there's no real experience points. There's skill points that you gain and all of that. And as you increase in skill, I guess that's a better way to say it, you could get better and better at using the Force. Now, the rules for lightsabers as a Force user is a little bit different than just using a handheld weapon, a regular melee or melee weapon, and where you can add your Force abilities into the use of a lightsaber, which really solidifies that Jedi badassness. Then it gets into different Force skills or Force powers. You have 3 different powers: control, sense, and alter, and each one can go up differently. Yeah, and those are basically your spellcasters, right? And then depending on how you're combining things, you can use your control and alter to do different, more difficult tasks. Other characters, aliens, droids, oh yeah, stormtroopers, gotta have a lot of them. And then running adventures. Probably just, I don't know. I think this game was way ahead of its time. Had everything that you need. Now, obviously, we had already 10 years of real like popularity of RPGs in the 80s. And so there was a lot that people had learned, and they put it in this game. Again, one of the greatest games. And then in Chapter 3 of the Gamemaster section, an adventure for Star Wars, the role-playing game, and then has everything that you need to run this awesome little adventure. Now, this is the character sheet. You can see how simple it is. It's not as overcomplicated as a game like 5e, in where it looks like a tax form is what people have likened it to. And then really these are the characters, and they're kind of pre-made characters. There is a way to create your own characters, but these are awesome templates that are ready to go, that already have your attributes filled out. And then you just have to allocate your skill points to bring up skills, and boom, you are off and running. Now, this is a wound, and I'm being reminded here, this is a wound status game, not hit points. So you get like a wound and a heavy wound, a mortal wound, and then dead. So, which is a great thing. So the different characters you can be: alien, student of the Force, arrogant noble, armchair historian, bounty hunter, always a popular one, brash pilot, an Ewok. I don't think anybody's ever played an Ewok in the games I played. Failed Jedi, great, another great template, a gambler, a kid, laconic scout, loyal retainer, the merc, minor Jedi, Mon Calamari, old senatorial, the outlaw, pirate, quixotic Jedi, retired Imperial captain, smuggler, tongue-tied engineer, young senatorial, Wookiee, tough native. And then you've got some charts and whatnot at the back of the book. So cool. Brings back amazing memories. And then your advertisement back there for the Star Wars Sourcebook, Paranoia, and Ghostbusters. Who you gonna call? Very cool. Now, the other book that is essential is the Star Wars Sourcebook. And this has all your cool Star Wars stuff. This was even really awesome for non-role players. I mean, there was some great stuff in here. Binding, the pages are kind of getting frayed there. I do have the 30th anniversary set of this, but this paper is so much better than that reprint of it. But yeah, I don't think I would ever use this to play at a game table with Cheeto hands and, you know, whiskey drinks getting spilled all over. But this gets into lore, a lot of lore. Chapter 1, General Spacecraft Systems, armaments and shields, sensors, life support, escape equipment. And then gets into starfighters and their stats. The A-Wing, which was a popular one. I even had a character. It probably makes zero sense, but I had a player character, not mine personally, but one that I was GMing. And they put a hyperdrive in an A-Wing because their mechanical skill was so high. They figured out a way to do it. And so an A-Wing with hyperdrive. Then again, they had no storage, really. A-Wing, B-Wing, Y-Wing, the X-Wing, and then a beautiful schematic here. So cool. The TIE Fighter gets into all the different TIE Fighters and has a sample TIE Fighter character sheet. There's the TIE IN or TIE Interceptor Starfighter, Star Destroyer, the Bomber, combat starships. Such cool stuff here. In space transports, etc. And then the thing that always got my heart pumping about this book, the Carillion Engineer Corporation YT-1300 transport, the Millennium Falcon. Blueprints, friggin' awesome. So cool. And then the Millennium Falcon stats. Awesome, awesome stuff. And I've got so many of the other supplements. And if you want me to get into other books, let me know. Tramp Freighters is one of my favorite Star Wars book. Man, we use that book a lot. Chapter on droids. The Assassin Droid. Repulsor lift vehicles. Air speeders, land speeders. Good gravy. Good stuff. Speeder bikes. Oh, yeah. I remember redrawing this in 9th grade, I think. Imperial ground assault vehicles. The ATST, Chicken Walker, man. Aliens. So more than enough to just be strapped into your Star Wars universe. Like I said, this thing's got vibes. It does. I don't know. There's a lot of energy in this for me. Chapter 9, Creatures. Stuff to fight, to deal with. There's your Rancor. Oh, yeah. Space slugs. Tauntauns. And then general equipment. Gotta have your blasters. And here's the equipment cost chart. So cool. And then gets into the nitty gritty of lightsabers, which was just on those 2 pages. But damn it, it does deserve its own chapter. They're too cool. Stormtroopers, your standard. Cold Assault, Zero-G Stormtroopers, the Scouts, and then into Rebel bases. And they give you a bunch of awesome stuff to go by here. And really, we used mostly all of the stuff that was in the equipment list, as well as references for all the starships and land ships. All about your Imperial garrisons. Here's an Imperial base plan, and then gets into your heroes and villains so that you can see how awesome you can get. As of the Battle of Yavin, Luke Skywalker has a Force skill Control 3D and Sense 2D, and by the time he's in Jedi, it's kind of off the charts. Leia Organa, Han Solo. I mean, his blaster is 9D plus 1. That was the one thing, if I have anything bad to say about this system, and it would just be the one thing, is once these numbers get so high, 7D even, or 8D, 9D. His starship piloting is 10D. If you're making a skill check, then you're rolling 10 dice and having to add all of them up. It can get a little ridiculous. But it was also kind of awesome to have that many dice in your hand saying, this is my skill. And you plop it down and take a minute to count everything up. I guess that's the cost of being amazing. Chewie, Mon Mothma, Lando Calrissian, R2-D2, C-3PO, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now you can see Obi-Wan has a control skill of 12D, Sense of 12D, and Alter of 12D, the Force skills. That's a lot of dice to roll. And then you get to Yoda. Yeah, what's he? Control 14D, Sense 13D, and Alter 10D. There's Boba Fett and Darth Vader. Just for comparison, since I've been doing it, Control 11D, Sense 12D, Alter 10D plus 1. So you get kind of a sense of the scale there. Bibliography and advertisements done. Well, thank you for going down memory lane with me. This was good fun, great system. If you've never played it, I'm sure you can find PDFs out there. Find it. Get it. I don't know what West End Games are doing anymore. I know they had a fantasy thing, but yeah, I don't know who owns the rights. Let me know in the comments if you know about that. And also, if you've played this before, tell me about it in the comments. All right, everyone. Thanks for stopping by Agranak Studios today, and we'll see you on the next one. Later!